What is up, everyone? How are you guys doing? It's race show time. I am so sorry for being late. I was having huge connection issues. This is the first time I've ever streamed from my cell phone doing this show. Couldn't get my laptop working. I'm on the road right now. I left MFD Race up in Warminster, Pennsylvania. Had to pick up Loki. For those of you that know, the Fox Body Mustang that I drive, Loki, had to go pick that up. We're testing this weekend. So I ran into a ton of traffic. There's a storm going on. So pretty much Murphy's Law. But without further ado, I have the lovely Haley, the welding Barbie, on with me tonight. How you doing?
I am doing pretty good. I'm pretty excited. How are you?
I'm pretty good, other than being stressed out.
Feel that.
Yeah. So where are you at right now? Looks like a shop, or is it your personal shop? Or I see some tires in the back, but I might see a car back there.
Yeah. So this is my father-in-law, Mike, and my husband, Corey's shop. It's Patterson Speed and Custom in Beech Grove, Indiana.
Awesome. What do you guys do there?
Pretty much like a little bit of everything. He does it, like engine rebuilds, custom work for like older cars, and pretty much anything. Like people will stop in, and if they need just general maintenance, he can do that, or race car stuff.
Nice. And is there like a particular type of car that you guys work on? Like, is it mainly like muscle cars, or pretty much everything, or?
It can be pretty much everything, but he likes to stick to like old school muscle cars, Mustangs, stuff like that.
Gotcha. So, I guess for those that don't know you, I guess let's start from the beginning. Tell me how you got into this car life, because I know we're gonna dive deep a little bit into your welding background and your social media influencer background with cars and things like that. But take us back to the beginning. Like, how did the disease start?
So I love that you said that. Ever since I can remember, like my mom tells me younger than a toddler, but I can only remember toddler years. So since then, just I was always in a garage. If it wasn't my dad's garage, it was his friends' garages while they were working on their cars. And it's just followed me up until this point, and I feel like till old age it's gonna follow me because it's something that I love. But yeah, so through like middle school and high school, I've tried to stick with it. And I don't know, just being around my dad and him working on his own cars and things like that pretty much inspired me. But whenever I got with my now husband, he kind of was fueling my passion a little bit more, letting me be hands-on and like help him build cars and stuff when he had his shop. And now I get to help here sometimes on like off days when our son's with his grandma and stuff like that.
Nice. How did you guys meet? Did you guys like meet at the racetrack or something?
No, our families have just known each other for a long time.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So it was kind of like a match made in heaven.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
So your nickname, your tag is the Welding Barbie, right? So if anybody wants to follow you, look her up on Instagram and even Facebook as well, right?
Yeah.
So how did you get that nickname? Like, I know you're into fabrication and things like that. What got you into that, and how's that going for you?
So around 2021 or 2020, I'm not really sure. My husband actually, I told him he was TIG welding, and I'm like, wow, I've never done that. I've done MIG, like whenever I was little. And
Mhm.
he was like, well, here, take a try. So I did. He had me do a pass on um, some aluminum. And he was like, this is pretty tricky for people most time when they're doing it the first time. So if you don't get it, like,
Right.
don't get frustrated. It's okay. Well, I did really well, I feel like I could say. And he was like, that's amazing. And this is something that you should stick with. Like, you can get really good at it, and you could even make it your own business if you wanted to. And I'm like, okay. So it really became like therapy for me. I like to say that because whenever I'm stressed, or, like life is just like piling on top of you, the first thing I think about is like going to weld, because
Mhm.
when you're welding, I think other welders can agree with this, you have to focus so much on what you're doing that nothing else around you even matters.
Right.
It just became like a therapy to me. And when I start doing something, obviously, like, I want to get better at it. So having the seat time and the practice, and I still do that. I don't, people ask me sometimes on Instagram, they're like, hey, how did you start? Or can you make me this? And I'm not certified. This is just something I do as a hobby for now.
Right.
So I kind of stuck with it behind the scenes. Like, I didn't even post anything about it on Instagram. And before my name was the Welding Barbie, it was actually LSX Haley, because my husband bought me an 85 GT Fox body, and we were going to
Uh-huh.
put LS in that. And which is funny because I was like, I'm not putting an LS in a Mustang. Like, that's terrible. We're not doing that. But I also had the mindset of racing then. And he was like, look, it could be really good. This car already has a cage, blah, blah, blah. So whatever.
Right.
Well, I kind of we just had our son, and I'm like, we don't have the money for this right now, because I wanted to do like full blown racing. And I told him, like, just sell the car. That's not something that we need to focus on right now. It'd be too much money.
Right.
And I told him, I'm like, well, I have to change my username because I don't have the LS, I don't have the Fox body or anything. So I like thought on it, and I love, like, I'm not gonna say every little girl, but a lot of girls, they love Barbie. They grew up with Barbie, and in middle school, some of my friends would call me Barbie. So I'm like, okay, there's Barbie, but what's something that I could post about that I love? And I'm like, oh, duh, welding. So it just became the Welding Barbie.
Oh, that's cool. So, what are some projects that you've done that were either like really difficult to do or like came out like amazing?
Um, so I feel like an answer to both would be, I had never welded carbon steel before, and my husband got me one of like the cubes or the dice from our local steel shop,
Hmm.
and I kind of took a stab at doing that, and a lot of the passes were really rough because it's so much more different than aluminum to me. I don't know why I have such a easy time with aluminum, but carbon steel, I was not getting it. I was getting so frustrated. I wanted to just throw it to the side and say never again, but eventually I got it. And then it's funny because I feel like that was my hardest, but also best because it turned out well. And then I got an aluminum cube and went right to that, and then I was blowing holes through it. I'm like, man, what's going on? Did I switch to the carbon steel side? Am I just not good at aluminum anymore? But I had to figure out my settings, and 75% of that one was great. So I feel like the next time I try to take a stab at it, it'll be close to good, like more perfect. But I haven't really had much time with the Fox body stuff going on to even weld lately.
What would you say is like the most difficult part about TIG welding and things like that. Because I know a lot of people wish they could do it. Right. It's an art form, in my opinion. I wish I could do it. I can't do it. You know what I mean? I've never tried though. What do you say is the most difficult part? And like, if somebody's watching and wants to be a welder like you, what advice would you give them?
Definitely be open-minded and let patience take over, because I still have trouble. Like, I don't know my settings by heart. My husband has to help me with that sometimes.
Mhm.
Just take it slow, and if it's something that you want to build on, give yourself the space to grow and learn, because it's not something, I feel like welding for anyone, it's not something that can just be done overnight. Like with racing, you got to have seat time.
Right.
It's something that I feel you have to perfect your craft, or not even perfect, because I don't want to give that, like, oh, you have to be perfect or anything, vibe, but definitely just give yourself grace and patience, because it's going to be a journey.
Gotcha. So you still have the Fox body or no?
I do not have the 85. We sold it.
Okay. Which one do you have now?
Looking back, that's me and my husband's like biggest regret, because 85 GTs are like hard to come by. Anyways, I have a 1984 GT.
Gotcha. So what are the plans for that?
We are throwing a 5.3 LC9 in it and a 700 R4. The plan's basically, it's just going to be a cruiser. Everyone keeps asking me like if I'm going to race and things like that, and I want it to be something that me and my son can hop in and go to Target and get groceries, and then when he's with my mom on the weekend, me and my husband can go out and do like mild street racing, just have fun.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a great plan. Don't get involved in racing. I kick myself all the time, because it's like I love the sport so much, right? I bleed it. I talk about it. You can ask some of my closest friends that, we chat every day about racing, drag racing, and all this stuff. But at the same time, it's a lot of work. It's almost a full-time job. On top of that, it costs a lot of money. You're constantly breaking stuff. It becomes almost in like an addiction.
Yeah.
And so many times, I just sit back and I think, like, what am I doing? I could have a badass street car, and drive it on the weekends when it's nice out and not really have to worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, will stuff break on it? Yeah, maybe, but not as often as a real race car.
Yeah.
So I think you're on the right path. So, that don't do what we do, basically.
Well,
Go ahead.
Sorry. I had got the itch to race and like have a full-blown race car. Right when we had that 85, and I really sat back and I was like, this, like, the money that we could put in this car could go towards taking our son to Disney, like giving him an awesome childhood. And
Yep.
I'm also, if I'm competitive, it's really bad. Like, I don't want to chase a number or beat someone and risk like so much for it, when it, to me personally, like, it's not really going to prove anything. I know that just came out bad, and I don't know how else to explain that, but it was just kind of like the mom mindset. I had like
Right.
postpartum anxiety too. I'm like, I'm not about to crash into the wall and kill myself if we just had a kid. I don't want to take myself from him or hurt myself or hurt someone else, because I'm also not a seasoned racer. I have a little bit of seat time under my belt, but that's just with like local track stuff. So I didn't want to go all in if it just felt like it wasn't the time to do that.
Right. Hopefully, this rain, you guys don't hear this rain that's coming down on me. That's really hard right now. But does it sound bad or no?
I don't hear anything.
Okay, cool. So what? Going back to the car, you mentioned that you would back then you wouldn't want to put an LS in a Mustang. So
Yeah.
What changed?
My husband built a I don't know exactly what was in it. I want to say a 6-liter. He's probably watching this like, no, Haley, no. But I don't know what it was. It was an LS, and he put it in a customer's Camaro, and I heard it, and he was like, man, this thing rips. Like, it rips harder than my Coyote, and it's awesome. We got to build something with this in it. And I'm like, okay. And then his buddy messaged him and was like, I have this 84 GT just sitting here. I'm tired of looking at it. Like, please come and get this thing. So he sent me a picture. I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And I love Fox bodies, especially the 4i. So he was like, this can be yours. We can build it. And then about a month later, a customer, well, his good friend that was also a customer, needed an engine rebuilt in his truck. And so he was replacing a 5.3, and the guy was like, just keep the motor, like, we don't need it. So Corey was like, okay, here's your engine, like, it's free, let's just strip it down and rebuild it. So
Nice.
I got lucky, and it was just kind of like it worked out because we got it for free. And within the Ford engines, I'm partial to the 2-valve. I really like 2 valves.
Why?
I don't know. So I had a 2000 GT, and that was like the first engine of mine personally that I helped rebuild. And I just kind of fell in love with it. And we also watched a racer. He had a 2-valve in his car, and it was pretty gnarly. So eventually I was like, we're going to have to build my car to be like this because it's cool. But I told my husband, I'm like, I want it cammed. Like, I just want a cruising car that sounds really good. And he was like, well, why don't we'll just stick with the 5.3. It's cheaper. And I don't know. It kind of worked perfectly. It all fell together.
No, yeah, it's an amazing platform. You can make so much power with it with very little money.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the Fox body that my goddaughter drove last year, the wing. Remember, you were looking for a wing like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and that was off of that car, that wing. Basically, it was a small block Ford setup, naturally aspirated. I built it for her so she can get her feet wet. She really started to get into drag racing when I took her to the track a few times. And, for 15, 16-year-old girl or whatever, 400 horsepower was, enough, right?
Oh yeah.
So she got a bunch of seat time last year, and she was doing really well. So I was like, all right, this year we're gonna beef it up a little bit. We're gonna throw an LS in it because it's gonna be very cheap. Basically, it's a 6-liter, bottom end. I won't touch at all. Just throwing a cam, doing the heads, and some stuff here and there, and it'll make 800 horsepower.
Oh, nice.
On a turbocharged motor, right? So, but I'll probably have, like, all said and done, maybe $3,500 into it. You know what I mean? To make almost a thousand horsepower.
Yeah,
So
a lot of people are not understanding that you can do that.
yeah, and I don't get me wrong. Like I love almost every engine platform. I think they all have their advantages and disadvantages. Like I love the small block Ford platform. I think in my opinion, compared to an LS, a small block Ford will make more power, but it costs more money. So yeah, it all depends on like personal preference. What you want to do, what you like, and I guess what your budget is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So where are you in the process right now with your car build? How long do you anticipate it taking, or are you not in a rush, or
I feel like I'm in a rush because we're trying to make it to LS Fest East, and that is September 5th. And I don't know if you can see, but my short block's literally just sitting there. It's not even together. So, but we just ordered um, bearings, and the crank just came back from the machine shop.
Mhm.
And I think my husband says that we could get the short block ready and done probably like in a week.
Oh, nice.
I hope to have it done obviously before LS Fest East, just in case something goes wrong. I don't know if we're going to trailer the car or drive it because we're pretty close. But yeah, there's so much to do. The inside of the car, I've posted a couple reels on the inside, like me cleaning it out, and it's unfortunately still sitting like that. It's just gutted, empty. It does have seats and a steering wheel, so we're getting somewhere with that. But uh, while the engine's being built, I think we're sending the transmission out to have that looked over. And while all of this is happening, I still have to prep the car so that we can wrap the car. And
What color?
my friend, I want to give her a little shout out because she does car wraps in Fishers, Indiana. Her name's Brianna, and I think her Instagram is Breezy the Rapper. I'm so sorry if I messed that up, but she is gonna teach me how to wrap it, and it's like, I think it's called Jelly Bean Glitter Pink or something like that. It's gonna be pink.
I was just gonna say, is it gonna be pink? Are you gonna put like your Instagram tag on the car or something like that? And
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna try. I think if we have any left over, I'm just gonna do like I made a logo, so I might put it across the top of the back window, like my logo. But yeah, definitely pink. All pink.
that'll stand out for sure. So one of the topics I wanted to discuss, because you are a perfect example of what I preach to a lot of racers, because I have a lot of people know I have 660 marketing, and we specialize in marketing, digital marketing for racers. And one of the things we specialize in is sponsorships, right? So you just landed a big sponsor recently, right?
Yep.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So a little transparency backstory. I was looking on the internet, like Instagram, Facebook, and I see all of these other people who are building cars, and they're getting like sponsorships left and right. And usually I'm the type, I'm like, no one's going to want to deal with this bucket sitting out in the shop lot. They're not going to think it's actually going to move anytime soon. Why would I ever do that? And so that just kind of like stewed in my mind for a couple days. And finally I was like, why, I changed why would they to why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't I give myself the chance to reach out if there's anything that I can promote for them. I know I'm like a smaller like account, but I just sat down that night. I sent out probably 20 proposals to all kinds of companies, and I was like, today's the day that I'm putting this motivation and energy into myself. I'm going to believe in myself. Hopefully they do too. If not, that's fine, but I'm going to keep rocking. Like, this is something that I want to do and I want to share with other people. So Jegs actually was my first yes, and they got me on board with their automotive influencer / like sponsorship program. And I've actually been invited to have my car at their booth at LS Fest East. So that's why the deadline is so important and exciting, because, well, stressful too, but it's just, it feels so good to have a company that big say, you know, we love the silly stuff that you post. We love this stuff that you post about your family, your car, your welding. Like, let's do this. Because before they reached out to me, I had 2 companies tell me that I didn't have enough followers. I didn't have enough engagement, or like, just, it was all about numbers to them, which I get it. 2025, and that's like a big thing right now, especially with social media. But for them to like say that, and then Jegs take the leap of faith in me, I was like, heck yeah, like this is awesome.
Right. And you can grow that into some long term with them, because, you know, who knows, like, you know, let's say one day you end up having, you know, 250,000 followers or 500,000 followers, you know, they're going to benefit from that, that relationship, because they're going to grow with you.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the things I preach all the time, and a lot of racers don't get it. It's not about how many wins you have. It's not about how many races you go to. It's not even really about what kind of car you have, right? It's every sponsor or company is different. They all have different wants and needs. And depending on what their wants and needs are, it could be content. You know, I know you do a lot of content for Jags, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can be like, hey, yeah, I could provide you videos, you know, blah, 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 blah. And you can strike up a deal with, you know, X company. And then, you know, there you go. You know, you're off to the races, right? So, but it's not about how many wins you have. It's not about even if you have a nice car or what kind of car you have. It's really about you as a person, and are you able to give them what they need?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any others that are coming down the pipeline, or is that all hush hush?
I'm in I want to say like limbo with 2 companies right now. I've been like we've been going back and forth a little bit, but it's been very, I don't know. I told my husband the other day, I'm like, it's just looking like it's not going to happen. I wish they would just tell me no so that I can, you know, continue on. But I mean, obviously I'm still hopeful. Like, I'm grateful for anything. Any yes, or, you know, even if it's an opportunity where I'm told no, I take that as a sign that something else can be coming later on down the road. So yeah, that was pretty much it. But I think Jegs, they're amazing. They have so many things that I could use for this build. They even had the specific dash pad color for my husband's 81 Fox.
I saw that video.
Yeah, I was like, holy cow. Hey, I need that, please. I gotta have that. I got that for him for Father's Day, and I feel like it's already starting to trickle of like promoting. I didn't know it would be that easy. I was so worried. Like, what if I'm not um, providing as much as they think that I can?
Uh-huh.
But it's amazing when you post on different platforms how many people you can reach, and they're like, "Hey, I need this. Can you send
Right.
me the link?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah, let's go."
Right. Right. Yeah. Again, like, um, I think people like back then, like I would say, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was all about, winning and even like if you had a show car or whatever and you didn't race, it was all about how many competitions you won
Yeah.
and things like that. But it's not like that anymore. It's all about, can you provide content, or can you, maybe do some product testing, or there's multitude of reasons why a sponsor would be interested in sponsoring somebody who might not even have their car done yet. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So, and you provide a lot of value to JEGS just by the content you do for them, and testing out products and doing all that kind of stuff. So, good job on that.
Thank you.
So, this is going to be a little bit of a funny conversation. I see you post all the time about men trying to hit you up in DMs. And so what's that like, being a female, I guess being an influencer online, and the men hitting you up in the DMs, like what are some of the craziest DMs you've ever gotten?
Oh Lord. I don't. Sometimes people will message me and they're like, "Are you single?" And I'm like, I just straight up tell them, "No, I'm not. I have a husband."
Right.
And like more often than not, they're like, "I don't care," and I'm like, "What blocked?" But I'm giving you the chance to like reel it back in and move on, and you're just
Right.
doing the most. So I don't know about DMs, but I had a guy like last week post on my Facebook timeline, and it was very odd. I can't even remember what he said, but it gave me the creeps. It was very
Right.
creepy. And I went to his profile to block him, and this guy's local. That scared
Oh,
me
wow.
more. So, and with me posting the shop and like content and things like that, I'm like, oh God, what if he sees the shop and then like, I don't know. I've had DMs of people like from streetcar takeovers or thing racing events where they're like, I saw you, but I didn't want to say hi, or you looked cute, but I didn't want to come talk to you. And I'm like, this is the creepiest thing ever. I'd rather you come like say hi and
Right.
like, hey, I follow you, or like I like whatever you're doing, whatever.
Right.
Um, it's just like little stuff like that. It scares me. And being a girl in the car community, and I know guys are gonna roll their eyes at this, but it's rough and scary sometimes. Like I got to a point, I told my husband, I was like, I need to just shut off. I'm gonna delete Messenger. I'm gonna shut off my
Yeah.
on Instagram, because if it's not creepy, it's mean, and I can take it. You
Really?
can,
Like what kind of stuff would they say?
oh man, you wouldn't believe how many people are like so angry about an LS and a Fox body.
Oh my God.
And I say the Ford purists because I feel like that's what they are.
Right.
And it's crazy because I can sit here and I'm not going to judge you for preferring a 302 in your car.
Right.
Why do you got to, like, it's my car. That's your car. This is my
Right.
car. So,
Right.
I've gotten DMs and comments just over that alone. of them calling me a fat B and a W word. Like, I'm not going to say them.
Right, right.
Like every name in the book. And I'm like, wow, this is
That's
crazy.
crazy. Like LSs have been getting swapped in Fox bodies now for, I don't even know. It's probably like at least 15 years or more.
Yeah, it's not new.
You know? Yeah, it's not new. It's like, like almost every Fox body nowadays has an LS in it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I could never have so much hate in my heart to where I'm trying to tell or be mean to somebody because of what they're doing with their money and their
Right.
cars.
I think those people need Christ.
Yes, they do.
For sure.
They need
Yeah. So, speaking of that, that's kind of like how I kind of got connected with you because, I found your page and stuff like that. And I think you made an Instagram story of like 5 things you like. And it was like, cars. And then I forget what type of food it was. And then,
Yep.
You said Jesus and some other things I forget, but I was like, this person's cool, like, and I've been on a newfound journey with Christ recently, and that's how we got connected because I really enjoyed your content, and then on top of that, I knew you're a big Christian, so. Let's talk a little bit about that. Like, have you always been a big Christian, or did that come later? Or
so no. I grew up. The only time I had gone to church, unfortunately, was like for a funeral or a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
My mom grew up Catholic and she went to church a lot when she was younger. My dad had absolutely nothing to do with religion. So I had not, I was always in I feel limbo with not believing, like teeter-tottering, like, is this real? Like, I don't know. I hadn't always been the way that I am today. And I had been going through some pretty mentally dark times, and just talking to my husband and things like that. This was before we got married. And we were just having a conversation one day, and he's like, I think we should go to church. And I'm like, what? What do you mean, like, go to church? Because that just wasn't how I grew up or anything like that. So we went to a local church. And man, when I would hear people, it literally makes me so emotional.
I totally understand. I'll tell you my story after this, but go ahead.
You hear people say, like, it literally instantly changed my life, and I'm trying not to cry. We walked in, and I'm just like literally sweating, shaking. I had anxiety. I'm like, I don't belong here. That's what I'm telling myself in my mind. Like, you don't belong here. Why are you here?
Right.
And we're standing there, and they start worship, and I literally just lost it. And every single Sunday since, I cry during worship because it takes a hold of me. And I don't know, it was just like such a moment of pure joy and peace. And that, I believe that sermon was about forgiveness. And that was something that I was struggling with a family member. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this person anymore. Like, I don't know what's going on. So for it to be about forgiveness, and just like, I felt like God was just talking straight to me. I was like, wow, okay. And then I went home. I ordered my first Bible. It came like a couple days later. I instantly started Bible study, started reading the Bible. I tried to completely cut out secular music and listen to worship music only. And ever since then, it's just, it's hard to say. Like, I want to say I don't know where my life would be without God. And
Right.
I'm just so, so thankful. You know, I feel like all Christians, we have faults, we sin, we slide off, but no matter what, he's there to pick you back up. He will always forgive you. And it's just, it's amazing. It's so life changing.
Yeah.
And I try to talk to like some people in my life. I'm like, please just come to church with me, because
Yep.
I know how you're feeling. I know what you're thinking,
Mhm.
but just come on, let's go. It'll be great.
Right. Yeah. No. Kind of similar story. So I grew up. I always kind of had a relationship with God. I grew up Catholic. But as when I got older, probably right after high school and things like that, kind of stopped going to church and and all that stuff. And I always made the excuse of like, oh, my relationship with God is different. Like, yes, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, but it's different. I don't need to go to church, right? That's what I used to say. I know God exists, I know Jesus exists, I know they love me, so I don't need to go to church, right? So and this went on for years or whatever. And the past couple years, I was dealing with a lot of stress, but it was like internal stress, like, and maybe it was depression, I'm not sure. But there would be days where I wouldn't even want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
And I would be in bed for hours, right? And still stressing out. Like, it's not like I was in bed, like, sleeping. I would be in bed, like, eyes wide open, but I didn't want to, like, go out into the world, you know? Um, and, I was dealing with a lot of anxiety and things like that. And, a friend of mine, was like, hey man, like, when was the last time you went to church? Right. And I was like, I don't know, a few years ago, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He's like, do you want to go? And I was like, nah, that's not for me. Like, like, I'm not the church person. And, he's like, I don't know, man. Like, something's telling me, like, I think he said, God's telling me he wants a new relationship with you or something like that. And, I just thought he was just blowing smoke, right? I'm just like, I put it as, oh, he's a Jesus freak, right?
Yeah.
And he just wants me to go to church with him and all this stuff, right? So, and um the stress levels, the anxiety levels kept getting worse and worse, right? But this friend, anytime I spoke to him about it and we would talk a little bit about God, like it kind of went away, right? So I was like, all right, maybe I need to look into this further, So what I started doing was I started going to different churches, right? And see, um, what spoke to me, right? So I started going to different Catholic churches. I started going to Christian churches. And then I was at the gym one day, and this lady, this older woman, was like, hey. And I was like, and I look back, and she's like, yeah, you come here, right? And I go to her, and she's like, what's that on your shirt, right? And basically, it was a T-shirt with like um, a Japanese demon mask on it, right?
Oh, right.
So yeah, so uh, because I do martial arts, it's just a T-shirt from my martial arts school, right?
Yeah.
And I explained that to her, and she's like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "I thought you were a devil worshiper, right?" And I was like, "No, no, no, no." I was like, "I believe in God. I believe in Jesus." I was like, "Actually, I've been going to church every Sunday." And she was like, "Well, what church do you go to?" I was like, "Well, that's kind of a funny story. I've been kind of looking, you know, uh, looking for a church that I like. And she was like, you should come to my church. Right. And I was like, okay. And I went. She thought I wasn't going to show up. She thought I was just like telling her like what she wanted to hear. So she would go away. Right.
Yeah.
So no, I showed up, and after the first service, I was sucked in. Like, just like you said, like, I was like, this is the place, right? I felt such a strong connection with everybody there, felt such a strong connection with God again. I was just like, this is my spot, right? And ever since then, I've not missed a Sunday. If I do, it's because, you know, I'm out racing, but I'll like, they YouTube it, so I'll watch it on YouTube. So it's been an incredible journey. But like you said, like, I think like the first 5 services I went to, like, I had tears coming down my face. You know what I mean? And I had no idea why. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It wasn't like because I was thinking about anything sad or anything like that. I'm like, I was just so happy to have a relationship with Christ again.
Yes.
You know, that, you know, I got emotional about it. You know what I mean? And sometimes I still do. But yeah, I was just like, this is my spot. And now, like, I volunteer at my church at least once a week. I don't miss, you know, I read the Bible every day. And guess what? Like, not that I don't have stress and anxiety anymore, because being a business owner, you know, you kind of always do.
Mhm.
But it's like very minimal.
Yeah.
Like, I know that no matter what happens, God has my back.
Yes.
And having that relationship with him is, I highly recommend it to people that are lost, and kind of don't know what to do, or dealing with depression. Um, you know, just, I'm not saying you have to, you know, totally dive into it, but, you know, find somebody that's a Christian and just, you know, maybe just talk to them. Maybe, you know, just read the Bible with them. Maybe go to church on a Sunday. And I'm telling you, it'll probably be one of the best things you'll ever do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I so agree.
Yeah. So was your husband, and I might have missed this, was your husband a Christian before, or did you guys like kind of go through this path like the same time?
So he grew up going to church with his mom and dad and brother, and he would go to, I believe, like church camp in the summer and things like that. Um, but as an adult, like, since the whole time we had been together, he never like went to church. We never went or anything like that. So I feel like, um, he's always had a relationship with God. He's always
Mm-hmm.
believed in God and everything like that. So he's been in his faith. But since we've started going together, I feel like for both of us, it's just strengthened. And we actually got baptized together last year on Easter. So
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's awesome.
we got baptized like 3 months into going to our church. It was awesome.
Yeah, same. Like, I got, as soon as I went, I started going, like, I was like, I knew I wanted to get baptized again. Because I knew, like, one, you know, not to get really deep into the Bible, but it says in the Bible that, you know, you must accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And you have to get water baptized, just like he did by John. But yeah, I knew right then and then, like, because I was baptized as an infant, you know, but it wasn't my choice, right? It was my parents.
Right.
So I knew like, you know, to enter into the kingdom of heaven, and to have that relationship with God again, you know, I needed to get baptized again.
And I
The
love,
real baptism.
yeah, I know. I love seeing posts about people getting baptized. I know I saw yours and I messaged you and said congratulations. But every time, like even when I saw yours, I'm just like, yes, 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 yes. Like I'm
Yes.
so excited for these people.
Yeah.
I shared a post on my story today about prisoners being baptized, and man, that always gets me because I feel like another thing that others should know, if they're like teeter-tottering on the idea of having a relationship with God, and one thing that was kind of hard for me to grasp and understand is that I feel like a lot of us feel we're not deserving of a relationship or of his love because of the things that we've done in our past.
Right.
It almost it almost just does not matter. Like he loves you for who you are, and if you fall, like I said earlier, he will pick you back up. And
Right.
that's just, it's what's so amazing to me because I don't know, I can't even put it into words. It's just, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're exactly right. Like I can't put it into words. Like people will ask me like, what, you know, what's changed? And I tell them like, I can't put it into words. Like I can't describe it.
It's something that you feel, and I feel
Yeah.
like the Holy Spirit, they're like, all right, let's do
Right.
this, you know.
Right. Right. Exactly. So, um, you know, you post a lot of content, right? You're always posting Instagram, Facebook. Um, what's I'm not good at posting content personally. You know, I have employees that kind of do that stuff for me. But could you give us some, I guess, tidbits or cool tricks, like what's in right now? If somebody is watching this and kind of wants to, you know, get a lot of likes and get a lot of followers, like what advice can you give them to like what type of content like they should post and how, like, you know, should they put, I remember back in the day, a lot of hashtags was good, but now it's not,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So like, what's your advice?
My go-to is to not chase the likes, to not chase the views. Don't be a slave to that because literally it will drive you nuts. I was doing that last year and I fell into the habits of doing trends. And I mean, of course, like if you can relate to a trend, definitely do it, but do it in your own way where you're showing your authentic self. Don't try to be anybody that you're not because, like I said, if you land something with a company, genuinely, I think that they want to work with you for your personality.
Right.
When I was chasing those trends and obsessing over likes and views, it put me in a really dark spot. And I was starting to become someone that wasn't me. I just kind of got like, not even big headed, but I just got like so obsessive over this. And then that led me to arguing with people in the comments, and if they'd call me a name, I'd call them a worse name, or just it got ugly. So all I can say is just be true to yourself. If you have a goal, stick to that goal. No matter what anyone says on the internet, it doesn't change who you are. And don't ever let it affect your goals because if you do, ultimately it's just letting them win. And it's so not worth it.
Yeah, that's good advice, for sure. I guess, what's your best platform or maybe your favorite one?
Instagram, just
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like I can connect with friends so much more easily that like I haven't even met in person. Like it's always my go-to to see what's going on in their life and to also reach other people. Like I know the hashtags don't work a lot, but I follow certain hashtags, and I met. Well, we haven't met in person, but like I found Ellie Hodge, she's another girl that is in the Fox Body community,
Mhm.
and she's also Christian. Um, that's how we met, and we became great friends. And I met my friend, I don't know if you know her, Alexandria Garcia. I met her through Instagram. And then literally that following year, she traveled to Indy for Streetcar Takeover, and we got to meet. So I feel like Instagram's brought me a lot of really good friendships and also helps me learn new things with like algorithms and even working on my own car. Like I didn't even know the difference of like an 82 Mustang to an 84. Like it's amazing to see everyone's builds, and I feel like it's a much easier platform to see that.
Right. Right. Nice. So if money was no object, what kind of car would you have, and how would it be built?
Oh man, that is such a loaded question. I love it because I made a post about this, I think like last week, and I would want an 85 or 86 Fox Body GT,
Mhm.
um, with a Barra and a turbo. I don't really know, like I'm not the knower of all things, so I'm not sure like transmission wise or anything like that. But I also want probably an LS swapped 62 Continental. That would be,
Okay.
yeah. Or
What?
an LS swapped 66 Galaxy. Like LS is taking over our house right now. So
So that's funny you said the Galaxy. My dad has a 65 Mercury Comet. So they kind of, both cars kind of look similar,
yeah.
like the body styles and the headlights and stuff like that. But yeah. And there was one more. Oh, how do you like balance everything? Like, so you're a mom, you're a wife, you work on cars, you have this social media following, so you're posting content all the time. Like how do you find the balance to do everything?
Um, I don't I don't have a perfect answer. I know that iced coffee and Red Bull help me. And just honestly, being a stay-at-home mom, it's I don't know how to explain it. It feels like a job because
It is
you're
a job. No,
you're
that's it is a job for sure.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And so I think being able to balance, what helps me is being able to have the time for myself. I am so grateful. My husband, if I'm like, hey, look, dude, I need an hour, or I'm going to go cry in the bathroom for 10 minutes, or, like it's not horrible, but just having a husband who gives me the grace, who gives me the space, not to rhyme, but being able to have that teammate that knows also, like he's a business owner, he's at the shop. I think yesterday was his first day off in like a month and a half because he's just been getting at it and trying to get as much done for customers so that on his off time he can help me build my car.
Yeah.
His mind's going 24/7, so I don't really know how we find the balance, but we do it. And yeah, I would just say like having that strong team
Hmm.
mentality is what helps us keep each other going in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I was saying before, like being a full-time mom is a full-time job. Like, because if you weren't doing it, let's say if you were working, somebody else, at daycare is would be raising.
Do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
told my
you're
husband-
basically doing the same thing.
I told my husband today, I said, I saw in a mom group on Facebook that this lady's paying $100,000 a year in daycare.
Yeah.
And I was like, we save a lot of money, like by me staying home. Now, granted, me asking for a car to be built on the back end, it's not saving so much money, but luckily we're doing like the budget build. So
Right.
it's just, yeah, it's a lot, but I'm so thankful. Like we just ended the terrible twos. I think we're into the three-nager now. But he is literally the biggest blessing ever. And yeah, I'm so thankful to be a mom, and I'm so grateful. And yeah, that's awesome.
What's the funniest thing he's ever done?
Oh my gosh, that's hard to pinpoint because he does some crazy things. Man, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really have an exact answer for that one. He's wild, but
I love kids. I don't think I want any of my own. But I do love kids because they're just like, they're just so raw, like there's
they're
no
so blunt.
Yeah, very blunt, no filter. They say what's on their mind. Sometimes they do what's on their mind, you know what I mean? And it's just like, you just like look at them like, what made you think of doing that? Or what made you think of saying that? It's just like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know. We were in the car today, and also with that, kids are so happy. They don't
Yeah.
they don't know the world. And my husband looked at me today and he was like, we all need to be like Ford. Our son's name's Ford. And sorry.
No, you're good.
I was like, what is that? And he's like, look at him, he's so happy.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, no matter what we're in the front seat talking about or stressing over, he's back there just not a care in the world. Like, if we can't go to get ice cream, sure, he'll throw a fit, but 10 minutes later he's happy and he's forgot about it. And it's something that I didn't really see in my childhood, because I don't know, childhoods are such a big topic, and I feel like it all depends on your parents and
Right.
what they give you. Oh my gosh, that's so annoying. The space to do and how to feel and how they talk to you and things like that.
Gotcha. What is that in the background? Is that music or?
There's a stoplight literally right by the end of the shop driveway, and it was a motorcycle with the.
Oh, okay. Not a big deal. That's why I do this. That's why I do this show live, because I like more of a raw type of show.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? And I don't have to do any editing afterwards, so it works out.
I triple checked to make sure the air compressor was off, because before the show last week, I was getting set up and it went off, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I can't. 'Cause
Well, before we sign off, is there anyone you want to shout out, thank, any last words? You have the floor.
Sure. So obviously a big shout out to my husband, Corey, because I feel like without him, my passion wouldn't be as fueled for doing car stuff, or welding for that matter. I feel like him teaching me how to TIG weld definitely put me on a different path, and I'm so thankful for that. I mentioned Brianna, shout out to her. She does amazing wraps in Indiana. If you need wraps, go to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom and my sister, obviously, I love them. But yeah, I I think that's it. I don't know.
How about the big man upstairs?
Oh yes, obviously. Jesus, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I genuinely, like you said, that's how we met. So without God, I would not be sitting here talking to you. And I love that. I love that it creates friendships and brings other people together.
Yeah, maybe we should start like a Christians racers group or something like that.
You know what? A friend and I have actually been talking about that. So hopefully people will see that come to fruition. We're still working, but
Yeah, and I think a lot of drag racers are Christian. Um, I think that could be huge. Maybe we could possibly in the future throw like an event like
yeah.
surrounded by that. But I love when whenever I go to like Bradenton Motorsports Park down in Florida, they always have um, pastors there that'll pray with you before you make your pass and things
Oh
like
my
that. So yeah, and then they'll also have like Sunday service as well. So I love when tracks do that.
That's amazing. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah,
That's
they
amazing.
always have them there all the time. Yep. It's an organization called I think it's called Racers for Christ.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome. I'll have to
something.
look that up.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for being my guest this evening. I had a lot of fun with this conversation, even though everything went haywire and I couldn't sign onto my computer. But luckily it worked out with the phone. And maybe we can have you back on the show after LS Fest.
Yeah, that would be so much fun. I'd love that.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for signing on. If anybody's going to be at OBX Raceway, actually, I'll be at Roxborough tomorrow. I'll be racing a twin turbo Coyote Fox body, and then Saturday I'll be racing Loki, our small block Ford single turbo car at OBX Raceway. So if any of you guys are down there, please come up to me, say hello. I'll have stickers on me and things like that. So, but that's it, guys. Until next time.